Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, we are going to go right into our interview. I am sure people will start hopping on, but I don't want to delay this. We'll get right into it because we have an exciting interview today. Good morning again, everybody. My name is Rokita Johnson. I am a certified world-class speaking coach. I am also the founder of Rokita Johnson Public Speaking. Clearly, I'm passionate about public speaking, and that is why I am excited to be interviewing our guest today, Urmi Hossain, who is also quite passionate about public speaking. But we are going to get more into this and into her story of how she got into public speaking. But Ermi, can you please just give us an introduction? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so my name is Urmi, and I am the social media lead at Women in Leadership, which is an organization based in Canada. And our job is really to empower the women in different industry. We provide them with different tools and resources so they can feel empowered. And I am also a published author, speaker, blogger, YouTuber.
Awesome. Give us the name of your book too.
It's called Discovering Your Identity, a Rebirth from Interracial Struggle.
Awesome. Want to make sure everybody caught that. And I know Ermi said that you could catch your book on Amazon, correct? Okay.
That's right.
So everyone, go check out her book there. All right, let's get into today's interview because I am excited. Tell me again, because I know that you mentioned to me that you are passionate about public speaking. What made you become so passionate about public speaking? Like, was there a specific catalyst in your life that you can remember that got you into this, that was the lead in for you to get into speaking to people?
Yes, it basically happened through a series of events. And I watch a lot of TED Talks and TEDx. And so, because I was watching a lot of those things, I felt very much inspired. And I watch a lot of women speaking on stages. Like I watch a lot of speeches from Emma Watson, from other celebrities, and I got so much inspired by them that I was like, okay, I want to do the same thing too. And that's how I got started. I was like, okay, if I want to do the same thing that they do, I have to start from somewhere. So that's how I got into public speaking. I joined like the Toastmasters Club, and that's how the journey started. And I've been part of it since 2019, and I realized how much I need to work on public speaking because it looks simple, you're just speaking, but there are like techniques that comes out of it, like the way you look at the audience, the hand gestures, your body language. So all of these things matter, and I've been learning all of these things since then.
Mm, you are absolutely right. The people who are really good at public speaking, they just make public speaking look really easy. But that's usually after a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of mistakes and just really finding your rhythm is what I like to say. Finding who you are as a speaker and
Yes.
not copying someone else, which I think sometimes people tend to do when you first get into public speaking, which is understandable. You're trying something new. But I love to tell people it's okay to look at other speakers, but take what you like that they did and make it your own. Like you can totally adapt it to yourself. You can make it different in a way. So I love that you said that. And I am a big proponent of Toastmasters as well. I am a part of two clubs. I've been a part of Toastmasters for a while. I love hearing great speeches too. I love it. So that's part of the reason that I'm still in this organization. I get to hear great speeches every week. So it is awesome for anyone who's ever wondered about Toastmasters, because I do get questions about it sometimes. Yes, it is worth it. It is great if you want to be able to speak in front of a regular audience every week or however long the club
Yes.
needs, however frequent. Okay, so Irving, your organization that you're in, Women in Leadership, clearly it tells you what this is about. Women who are in leadership positions, or they maybe they just want to be able to hone their leadership skills. In your opinion, what is the biggest public speaking challenge that is affecting women in leadership right now?
I would say it's really the fear of public speaking, which is something that it's really common among people. Like people are just scared of speaking in front of a stage. There is the stage fear, and I think that's what's holding back a lot of people. Like when it comes to public speaking, there is also like confidence, and I think there is a lack of confidence. Like a lot of people speak, but they're not sure how to present themselves, how to communicate a message, and sometimes they refrain themselves from, going on stage or even speaking up for themselves. It's not just speaking on a stage, but it's also like speaking up for yourself and using your voice. And that's been a recurring theme, I would say, like among a lot of the women that we have met. And luckily, we also provided, webinar and workshop about public speaking and how to speak confidently, and hoping that a lot of these women take away something from this. It doesn't have to start big where you have to go and deliver a speech on a stage. You can start from your day-to-day job, your corporate job, where you start saying something, what like at the like how do you say, you start saying something one meeting at a time, so that's how you build the confidence, and we teach them all those things. And that's one of the things that we have seen so far, that women really struggle in finding that confidence in speaking up.
You said something very important there. Confidence is built one speaking moment or one speaking engagement at a time. It truly is. I think sometimes people feel like there's going to be that one engagement where it's all going to come together and you're just going to be just super confident, magnanimous. Everything that you were struggling with in public speaking will come together. But really, it really is step by step, brick by brick, speaking moment by speaking moment. That is how you build the confidence to get better at public speaking. And it's not just anything formal, a conversation that you're having, speaking up in a meeting,
Yes,
anything. So I love that you mentioned that, because speaking, I agree, the fear of speaking is one of the most common struggles that people mention. They mentioned to me today. So I do agree with you there. And there is help. You just heard her. There is help for it. So if you're a woman who's in leadership and you feel like you are struggling, her organization has a variety of resources to help you become the leader that you want to be. And that includes workshops that they do. So help is available for whatever you need, but it really is like one speaking step at a time. That is really how you will become the speaker you want to be.
yes,
I agree. Thank you for sharing that. The fear is very real.
yes. Unfortunately.
So, speaking of women in leadership, for your career, how has public speaking helped you to excel in what you do for work?
You know what? He gave me a lot of confidence. I think that the fact that I've been working on public speaking, it really gave me the confidence to speak up for myself. Like I'm not afraid of, raising my voice and using my voice to make a change or to prove a point. Whereas maybe a couple of years ago, that would have been probably an issue. Like I would have probably not found the courage to speak up. And I think that when it comes to public speaking, it's not about just speaking on a stage, but it's about also formulating a proper sentence. It's about, having a good communication skills, being eloquent, proving a point, being persuasive and influencing someone. And I think that has really helped me in every sense, especially in my day-to-day job. I feel like I have a lot more confidence to speak up and spread the message. And now I've seen that a lot. I've seen how that has helped me in my day-to-day job, and also like in this type of interviews, speaking with someone for a live or even for a YouTube interview. I can see how that has helped me. Like I feel like I'm able to be much more eloquent and able to communicate my message much more much clearly.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. Public speaking, it's really so many things that make up what we call good communication skills. It's not necessarily just being able to get up on a stage and do some type of formal presentation. It's how does it show up in our everyday life? Like you just said, for work, having to persuade people. Now that is a skill. That's definitely a skill set in itself. And I mean, we won't get into that here, but it there are different techniques. There are different things that you can learn for how to be persuasive. In the example that Urmi gave, and like she said, how to tie your thoughts together in an eloquent, articulate way. So it's not necessarily getting up there and delivering a TED talk, for example. How do you speak in your everyday life at work or in your personal life? So it public speaking can really help you with all manner of speaking. So I love that you mentioned that. Thank you. So let me ask you, I'm excited to hear your answer for this question. What do you think is advice, public speaking advice, that is outdated or maybe controversial at this point? So it could be either outdated, something that maybe has been said or recommended for years, but really you don't think it holds water or it's relevant at this point, or it could be controversial and maybe you don't agree with it, or maybe you do. So however you want to take this question.
Okay, so let me tell you how I feel about this question because pretty much now, even since 2020, like, during the pandemic, we have been meeting virtually, right? And you watch a lot of webinars, workshop, everything virtually. And a lot of the times you think that you don't need a good public speaking skills, even when you do things virtually. But I would say this is not true because even when you speak virtually, you need a certain way. There are best practices, like the way you show up, the way you position yourself in front of a camera, the way you look at your audience. Those are very, very important things. And I think it's even harder when you do this virtually because there is that lack of, personal connections, which means that you have to make double of the effort to make sure that your audience is connected with you virtually. And so there are like little things that you have to include in your speech when you're doing something virtually, whether you're doing like delivering a workshop or doing this kind of interview. You have to make sure that you know your position properly, that you're looking at your audience, that maybe you have a joke in your speech, that you have like storytelling, and you want to make sure that you're engaged, that you connect with your audience, asking questions, because it's so much harder to retain the attention of your audience. And I think you do need good public speaking skill even when you're delivering something virtually. And I think a lot of people do not know that.
Army, I think that you hit the nail on the head addressing this, because you're right. During the pandemic, I mean, virtual speaking was happening before the pandemic, but clearly because none of us could meet in person 5 years ago, we were forced to have to get on Zoom or whatever the platform was that we used to speak virtually. And a lot of people were not prepared for that. Even people who were experienced speakers, had very successful speaking businesses. And I remember speaking to my business coach at the time, who she's been in the speaking circles for years. She would tell me that there were people whose speaking businesses had basically collapsed because it was so hard for them to make the change from speaking in person to speaking online. While there are some skills that are generally just general good advice for public speaking, they do not always translate well from in person to virtual, which is basically, this is what you were saying. It's not the same. There are certain things that you really do have to work on that are going to help you to come across better online than when you are in person. Like, you really do have to amplify some things online, is how I put it. You have to amplify. So if you have good body language when you're in person, you almost have to make that more obvious when you are online, because you don't want to come across muted. You want to make sure your voice, your vocal variety is even more present when you're online, because it is way too easy for your audience to click away when you're online. They got another browser that they're going to click onto on their computer. They have their phone where they're going to check a text message or an email. They have their family in the background, and they're just going to just deal with that going on. So you really do have to make a concerted effort to be even more than what you would have been in person. You have to be more of that when you are in the online space. Your audience will easily go somewhere else. So I love that you said that. People really, I think, took, and some people probably still do, take speaking online for granted.
Yes,
Um, no, it is not just the same as going in person, and I'm just going to do the same thing online. You really do have to think about how you're going to present yourself when you're in this box here,
yes,
because you are relegated to the box when you're online. So I just love that you mentioned that. That is so important, and it's still important, because right now we're back in person, but online is not going anywhere. It
no,
just isn't. And if we're honest, there are people who still feel nervous about speaking online. They're okay with doing it in person, but online they're like, it feels different when you don't have a live audience there. And for a lot of people, that is scary, because you don't have that immediate
mm,
feedback of sorts than when you are online. You have feedback online, but it's different than when you are in front of a group of people. All
definitely.
right, thank you. So let me ask you, before you leave us, I would love to hear your top three pieces of advice for women leaders. What would you have them to know?
So for women leaders, I would say that when you want to become a leader, you make sure that you learn about public speaking skills. Because I always say every leader is a speaker and every speaker is a leader. So you want to make sure that you work on your public speaking skills, because that's something that will set you apart. And a lot of leaders have to know how to influence their their audience or the people they're trying to inspire. So that's fundamental, that if you are a leader, make sure to work on your public speaking skills. The second thing, for women who want to be leaders, I would say that make sure to always be your best advocate. So if there are things that you want to pursue, there are things that you want to achieve, make sure that you speak up for yourself. And that's where public speaking comes into place. If you have good communication skills, if you have good persuasive skills, you will be able to sell yourself easily. And the third thing I want to say, for women who are leaders or want to be leaders, make sure that you have allies. I think it's important that, we create that sisterhood where we, lean on each other, we help each other. So always make sure that you have an ally, someone who's willing to speak up positively about yourself, someone who's willing to advocate for yourself. So always make sure to have a good connections, good allies, find women who are allies. I think that will be really help you to really excel and upgrade, excel and also like grow in your corporate job. So those are my top three tips.
Okay, so you heard her. Number one, women leaders, get those good public speaking skills up. Make sure that if you don't have them, you start cultivating them. Number two, advocate for yourself. And then number three, make sure you have some women allies that can help you. Three great pieces of advice. Before we end, I want to have a little fun with you. I'm going to put you in the hot seat, and I
No.
have a few questions. These are rapid fire hot seat questions. So you're just going to answer them quickly. The first answer that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Air travel or a road trip? Air travel or road trip?
Air travel.
Okay. Summer or fall?
Oh man. Summer.
I agree. Okay. Milkshake or smoothie? Milkshake or
Smoothie,
smoothie?
smoothie.
Smoothie.
All the time.
Okay. What's a superpower that you would pick if you had a choice? A superpower that you would pick if you had a choice.
There's so many that comes to my mind. Oh man. I think I would like to read people's mind.
Ooh, I like that one. I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Time travel. Are you going backwards into the past or are you going forward into the future if you had a choice? Time travel.
Forward in the future because I already lived the past.
Okay. And lastly, early mornings or late nights? Early
Early,
mornings or late nights?
early mornings.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Urmi. I enjoyed this interview. It's always great to talk to other people who are also passionate about public speaking. I learned a lot as well, and this is so great for my audience and your audience because we can all learn about public speaking because we all have different experiences. So this has been awesome. Thank you for taking time out of your day, out of your morning. I know we've been trying to get this together for a while, so I do appreciate you being able to come on today. And I am looking forward to seeing what women in leadership. I am following their Instagram page, what they have coming up. But why don't you tell us, Urmi, tell us where we can find you at.
Yes, definitely. People can follow this page, the Women in Leadership Victoria Chapter page, to know more about what we do in terms of women in leadership. I also have a LinkedIn account called Urmi Hossain. I also have a YouTube channel called Urmi Hossain. And for anyone who wants to purchase my book, it's available on Amazon.
All right, you heard her. Please follow her, stay connected to her, learn more about public speaking and leadership from her and the organization. Listen, we could all learn from each other. So thank you for coming on today. And I will see you. I will see everybody else soon. Have a good one.
Bye.